Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to the Unexplored Mojave. Today we're going to be checking out the Y-0 Research Center, which is a location in the northernmost part of the Big MT. Now, this location, while there's really not a lot here as far as loot and stuff, because we actually cannot enter the facility because it's been destroyed, there is a lot of lore tied to this research facility regarding Frederick Sinclair and the Sierra Madre. So let's waste no more time and let's get into it. As you can see, here's the location of Y-0 just north in the map, and it is really close to the X-22 Botanical Garden, which is where we were last time. In fact, we're literally just continuing our journey to the north a little bit. Now, these Mr. Gutsies did spawn behind me by that kind of tipped over truck, and the Mr. Gutsy Mark 6 was actually really hard to kill, so just be aware of those guys. And of course, Mr. Gutsies do drop pretty good loot, so make sure you see what they drop if they spawn here for you. Now, as we approach the facility, over here in the corner, we can find a big book of science, which will increase your science skill by 3. There's also a duffel bag, but there was only a clipboard inside of it for me, which is very depressing. Then we can find Y-0. There are 2 trucks here with cages. Who knows who or what animals were in these cages? And when we can find the facility that is now covered in rubble. As we jump up on the roof, we can find a duffel bag and a skeleton. The skeleton started freaking out for me. He's coming back from the dead, very angry that I was about to take his stim packs and the recipe for melee weapons skill book. So pretty darn good. Also, another duffel bag that only had scissors. Man, I don't know what it is about duffel bags, but they're not any good. But you can walk up to the door, but you will see that it's inaccessible. Now, if you do look over here to the left, though, we can find a terminal which surprisingly is working, and there's 2 very interesting entries. The first one reads, "We finished the design for the dispensers for the Sierra Madre Villa as requested. That big wig Sinclair went to the Big MT execs. He wanted emergency dispensers for his sheltered villa in case war broke out and they needed to care for the survivors there. He's done everything he can to isolate the community and tighten security. Now he just needs to guarantee a food supply and be able to ration out resources in the event of nuclear holocaust. I hear he even narrowed the streets so cars couldn't come inside the town, let alone come up to the villa." So obviously we can see that this is where Sierra Madre's vending machines were created, and this was requested by Frederick Sinclair, and it was very important for his Sierra Madre. And the next entry reads, "Got the funding from Sinclair. Near as I can tell, he's willing to not only bankrupt himself for these devices, he struck a deal with the Big MT executives, letting the villa become a lab for the supposedly harmless prototype tech here. I've seen the Big MT execs do this with other isolated towns, Hopeville Meteorological Research up north, and the whole process. It's not what I signed up for." So we can see that the researchers here at Y-0, similarly to Z43 Innovative Toxins plant, where the researchers there were also starting to have reservations about what they were doing, and we can see that many of these researchers still had parts of their humanity intact. But that is pretty much it for Y-0. If we continue the rest of the way through the canyon, eventually we will come up on X42, or the Forbidden Area. Of course, that is a story for another day. So there it is, the Y-0 Research Center. Now, one last thing that is worth mentioning, according to an outburst on the Big MT intercom from Dr. Morbius, he claims that Dr. Klein destroyed Y-0 due to an unspecified mathematical error. Also, according to a script note in the conversation's dialogue file within the GEC, Klein was indeed responsible for the research center's destruction. So it seems like Dr. Klein caused that kind of rock slide or some kind of explosion that buried and destroyed the facility. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any recommendations or ideas for future videos or future ideas, please post them in the comment section below. And as always, until next time.